step files, right? Especially with First. You have these swerve drives. You have these like elevator mechanisms, right? You download the step files for these parts so that you can build them into your assembly.
Yeah.
But I can make that part with 3D printing, and I can make it myself. Why am I going to pay that company? But I just downloaded their design. So how's that make you feel?
Right.
Oh, interesting.
A
Right?
lot of the time with like these like complex step files, you can't actually like manufacture the parts. Like, yes, for the elevators, you 100% can for some of these things. Like you can 3D print the brackets, reinforce, and you don't have to buy the elevator from them. But if you're talking about swerve modules, that's an entirely different ballgame.
Absolutely.
And like my team tried to like manufacture it. We took it upon ourselves like, okay, we're going to like buy the stock. We're going to try and do all of this. It did not end out working well.
All of these companies that have built up around First have some really elegant solutions to like gearbox, 90-degree right angle, like hex shaft
Witchcraft.
spin. It's
Witchcraft.
It's incredible.
It's really cool.
But I kind of got into it. I have this assembly we used to do in advanced CAD. It's just this trolley thing, and there'd be a bearing in it, and the base part was 9 inches high, and my printer couldn't print it, so I made everything half scale just to show people like what are we doing. We can't get a half scale bearing. Like it just you can't go buy a half scale 1032.
Right.
Like stock fasteners don't scale.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, McMaster, let me grab your bearing file and print it half size.
Yeah.
And I could, because of those direct modeling features, I could, the 12 balls in the ball bearing, like
Scale it down a little bit, or
well, the ball bearing itself comes in as a part.
Right.
It's an assembly, but it comes in as a part.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when I printed it with the 12 little spheres, they spread out too far, and the whole thing shifted, and they all fell out. I'm like, I'm going to try 15 instead of 12. Pattern select, 15, print, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's why some bearings have the like spacers in between.
Yeah.
Like I notice that sometimes when
That actually
assembling
makes
stuff.
it harder for me to print. But
Yeah.
is there an issue with that? Is there a problem
Like
with me
an ethical issue?
Yes, of me taking a step file provided by a company. I bought nothing from them. They don't have the size I need.
I think that when they give the file out for without a paywall, then is that just them?
Yeah, I've never
giving it out?
seen like on McMaster. I agree to only use this for planning purchase. Like I've never seen that.
Yeah.
But you know why they make it so easily accessible is because if you've downloaded that file and you've used it to build your thing, aren't you more likely to buy that thing from them?
Very true.
Or am I more likely to buy a ball bearing from McMaster because I can just take the file versus some mom and pop store down the street that doesn't have that capability?
Right. Well, I think they're probably not very worried. Like the percentage of people who are taking their files and going and manufacturing themselves, I think, is probably small compared to their overall clientele, I guess.
And I've always seen McMaster as kind of a prototyping like website. Like I don't know, I think their prices are bigger than like if you're gonna use a lot of their parts for something you're making a ton of, you're not gonna get them at McMaster prices.
Or you're getting them
like McMaster.
You're
getting them like direct manufacturers at that point. You're not,
Sure.
We used them a lot previously on First because
it's perfect for First.
you had one, the team lead logged in and you just went in and did add to cart.
Right.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, they'd place an order and
Get to you the next day.
get all the stuff you needed. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like smaller, not manufacturing build.
Yeah.
But yeah, companies that'll make their files available to you, you're more likely to purchase from them.
I think that's true.
If you can just put their file into your design.
Well,
No,
I
that's
think
huge.
also what it is like maybe you have an existing design, you want to retrofit something, or you want to get some part from McMaster, put it in. You want to bring that step file into your existing assembly to make sure. So maybe they just want to like allow you to visualize their part in your thing so you could buy it. But yeah, like I said, I think that probably out of everybody who downloads their step files, I think that like only a few % are actually. I don't think they're worried about losing money from it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's probably
But maybe I don't know if they're worried about like if their feelings get hurt. I don't know.
Well,
No, it's a really interesting conversation. You know, where the value is, and you know what's okay. You know.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't have the answers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it is a balancing act between like for our team we would go and like take the step files, incorporate them into designs, and we wouldn't always buy from McMaster, but we knew that McMaster was a reliable source of models. So if we had a bunch of like random bolts, like 1032s
sure.
in the shop.
A
then-
standard part, like
Yeah.
that's also they're not. I mean, who like designed that part?
Right.
If it's a
true.
standard bolt or a standard.
But
you know.
I'm going to go on a ledge and say you should never be downloading 1032s from McMaster. Every cat package has a fastener library that doesn't have threads and
Right.
knurling and all of that stuff that can slow down. If you want to make it longer, you just switch to a different instance. You don't go download a different file and import it.
Yeah. As like an example, we knew that if there's some like standardized part that's not typically in any CAD package, and we're like, oh, we just want to make sure tolerances fit. We want to make sure that all of this is going to work before we pull the trigger and buy it. And maybe we found it from a different place that's cheaper, but they're not.
Amazon,
Yeah, maybe, but they're not.
AliExpress.
Yeah, but they're not going to provide a CAD
No,
model.
I'm agreeing
So-
with you. I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I think this kind of falls under what Liam was saying, that they're not making their money off of a first team, right?
No.
They're more targeted at companies and
Well, and even the aspect that like that taking one of their parts and 3D printing it, that you couldn't do that like long term as much. And if you are manufacturing one of their parts, that means you're looking long term. You're probably not going to be buying a lot of their parts anyway for that project. Like my understanding, like especially with the way their prices are, they're really just for you're trying to make something quick in a prototype. And from that standpoint, you don't have time to manufacture their stuff anyway.
Maybe, but I mean, I've seen them on like bombs of legit.
Is that true?
Yeah. They're definitely used.
Might be a
in the industry
misunderstanding.
but
Well,
it
the
depends.
defense industry can afford them, but
As soon as you get to like a certain level of manufacturing, you're going to start either doing stuff in-house because it's cheaper to just buy stock and then convert it all, or you're going to be, like as Liam said, buying straight from whoever is manufacturing these bolts, because McMaster is just aggregating it all and then sending it out. I don't think they're the ones actually like manufacturing all of these.
Probably depends on the part.
true. I think
Yeah,
they do
like-
some, but yeah.
But I never received something from them and it's like McMaster like on the part itself.
gotcha.
Right.
It's all blank.
Sure.